Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. It's the RTS League Season 32 Grand Finals. This is the end of the line. DoD, the deities of death, versus UCA, the Uncrappables. Hard to take a team serious with their name like that. The Uncrappables. But I'm not alone. Well, I am alone in this room, but I do have someone with me. It's Ryfang. Welcome. Ryfang, what do you think?
Hey everyone, I'm looking forward to a good series. I think these are two obviously highly experienced teams with highly experienced players, so hopefully they'll battle it out in some hard-fought games where it kind of comes down to skill, whereas the semifinals we caught last week, there was a bit of strategic kind of misplays that kind of doomed teams from the beginning. Hopefully we'll get more kind of skill-based games today.
Yes, hopefully. Hopefully we'll have all 5 games. But historically, the semifinals are usually better than the finals for whatever reason. Better isn't closer. I'm not sure why, but the way it is. This is not live. It's a recorded game broadcast, spoiler free. So it'll essentially be the same thing as if you were watching live, just maybe not quite as active of a chat, but that's all right. But yeah, it's a best of 5. I've got a little screen for you guys to look at between Deity's Death and UCA. There's a couple preset maps, and you probably don't recognize them because these are newer maps. They've been played in like the recent Champions League and stuff, but game 1 is a lumber camp, which kind of looks like the little map there. And then game 4 is also preset, which is Fields of Punishment, which is a wide open, pretty high hunt map on a Rebus style texture. And then game 2 and game 3 are picked by the clans, and game 5, if we get there, random. We're going to do a little predictions, me and Ryfang, before we get started. If you do look on the left, I've got a little bit of a rundown of the two clans. They come in with the same record, 14-2, so that's kind of cool. But predictions, let's get into it. And hello everyone in chat. Raptor AOM wants everyone to play Gaia. Don't know about that. I don't know who Hank Hill is, but maybe he looks like me. And then Jenny says hi. And Ryfang, predictions. I'm gonna make you go first, put you on the spot.
This is
What?
a little tough because you don't know who's playing per se. This isn't like a one versus one tournament where you're 100% locked into which player is
Right,
playing for
right.
each side, so you kind of can base the decision off the player. Here, you kind of have to judge the whole roster and kind of predict who you think might be playing.
You're
So
buying yourself time for the answer.
I will go with Dodd, though. I think they do have the stronger
Ooh.
roster of one versus one players, like you said, and being
Th-
strong in one versus one these days also requires you to be strong in like a lot of gods, because not many people just play one god over and over when you've been playing this game for as many years as most of the people active in this community have. So I do think Dodd has a pretty deep roster of high level one versus one players with the ability to play multiple gods, which is required in this high level team game play because the maps vary so much.
Now, Dot in how many games?
I think either 3-2 or 3-1. Probably 3-1 is my
Okay, all
guess.
right. So I thought about this a little bit ahead of time. I disagree. I think UCA will win, and I think they'll win 3-1. And the reason for that is I think they'll prepare a little bit more than DoD. UCA are pretty big into team games. They play well together, which sometimes that means a little bit more than individual 1v1s. Not that Dot has looked bad because obviously they're in the grand finals, but I think UCA will come into game 1 with a better plan. I think they'll win it. I think Dodd will win their home map, which would then be game 2. I think UCA will have a plan for their home map. They'll win that. And then game 4 goes well into Norse, and UCA, I feel, has better Norse players. So I think they win game 4.
You
But
think it's game four being an open map is what's going to end up shifting into UCA's favor?
I think so, because they looked pretty solid against WKT. Now, WKT maybe could have done a little bit better, but I think UCA's weak point in game 1 was a very rusty I kill, you die.
If
And
game four had been water or closed off, would that have flipped your prediction?
yes, I think DoD would win a more closed off map. I think UCA will be better in a open land maps mean more chaotic. I think UCA will be better in an open, more chaotic map. And then game 5 would be random, and who knows?
I'd say, yeah, it's kind of hard to predict the random.
Yes. But let's get into it. We've got, if anyone in chat wants to guess, obviously if you've watched the stream live, don't guess because it's not a guess. Yeah, give some predictions in chat if you don't know. A couple people say UCA teamwork is better. I think so. I think you're right. But you can't sleep on DoD. They're good players.
I was tempted to do a poll, and then I remembered this is a rec, so the poll might include spoilers, so we'll hold off from doing that.
Yes, but anyway, let's get right into the game. Raptor says UCA 3-2. Ooh, but yeah, let's get into the game. Let's have some fun. And I'm going to leave me off of the top left corner here in the stream because let's focus on the players. They've done a lot to get here. So there we go. Tourney game. I think it should be good to go. Oh, let me close a few extra things. Yes, Pineapple Express got your new emote and a couple new emotes actually. But okay, my man who provides me these recorded games always gives me the full set. I've got 5 recorded games here. There may or may not be 5. So we're going to go into game number 1, which is Lumber Camp. We'll have some time to talk about the players, talk about the map. Ryfang, you able to see everything okay?
I can.
Can the stream see the game? Because that's a common flaw for me.
I can, as a stream viewer as well.
All right, let's get into it. It's game number 1, Lumber Camp, a preset map that both clans will have known about ahead of time. No, I was thinking a Kronos would show up here, but there is no Kronos. So, first, let's go over the players. You got Domitas, the top right. He's Hades, and he's on UCA. You've got I Kill You Die, who's back. He's Loki. He's a Pocket. And then you've got Matrius, everyone's favorite, who beat me in a poll for the favorite player in the Champions League Season 2. Not happy. He's Reddit, he's Poseidon. So we've got Poseidon, a Loki, and then a Hades over here. And on the bottom side are our DoD players. We've got on the top left, Joe is Isis. Shelty is Thor. Gotti as Hades. And then the map is a Lumber Camp. Which, probably won't be familiar with because it's a newer map, but this is Lumber Camp. You got a little path of water that connects both sides right here, and then another one connects both sides right here. So, I mean, in Anatolia, you'd have the water along the edge. Here, it's kind of in the middle in between both players. I think this is a very interesting map. Ryfang, what do you think of the god choices?
I kind of like the god choices for DoD. I kind of told you in the pregame, because the water kind of splits the map into sections, it's kind of pretty easy to throw down walls between the players on your side and turn it into 3 1v1s, which if you turn into 3 1v1s and kind of a closed off map, it kind of fares well for defensive gods. So like the Isis can hold, the Hades can hold, and then the Thor, meanwhile, is Pocket, and the longer the Thor holds, the bigger the rag, and then not only the bigger the rag, but that rag is going to go straight forward against the Loki, which doesn't fare well against rag. So I think UCA is going to be under pressure to get a lot of pressure in early. Otherwise, I think the rag might be the deciding factor here.
What I see from the gods is that DoD is playing this like Anatolia. Their gods are Anatolia gods. Isis, Thor, and Hades. So basically I think we're going to see kind of an Anatolia gameplay here. Now, what I am noticing is that Scotty, though, is not docking at all. And on the other side, I Kill You Die is not docking. Which I can understand that because there's not a ton of fish.
Yeah, there's fish saturation where you're not going to kind of get as many fish as you would on a normal water map. The question that needs to be answered, though, is how is this going to play out as they hit Classical? Is Scatty just going to dock late to help them win water, or are they not going to care about water?
I think he goes up with maybe a Pestilence and just goes land, but uses Pestilence on docks, maybe? I don't know. Like, what's so cool about this map is that this is the first time I think it's ever been used in like a competitive team game, which means what is the meta? There is none. What's the best thing to do? I really don't know, which is kind of fun because I like the Isis here against a Poseidon.
This is what makes this kind of like half fish map so interesting, because there's benefit from the fish, but it's not like a Mediterranean or normal water map where if you win water and get a free fish boom, it's kind of over. Here, if you win water, it's a boost, but it's not a like automatic win boost per se.
What do you think of the Thor having water and the Loki not?
I think the Thor, I think, is going to be what decides this game with the Rag. I think that's just going to put the Thor further ahead and help the Thor defend early even better. And then I think if the Thor gets a early enough strong Rag off against the Loki, I think UCA is going to be in trouble.
That's what I'm thinking. Is this water for the Thor?
And again, it's hard for the Loki to double here because look, is that already? Yeah, the wall's already down from Joe to kind of cut that off. So if IKill tries to double Shelty and is like denied, normally on like an open map like Anatolia, you can go double Joe or somebody else in the meantime. Here you've got to go all the way around back to your base and then around, and then you attack another person. But again, if that gets shut down, then you're stuck going all the way around a second time. So it's not a great map for doubling, which is kind of what the gods UCA are good at.
Yeah. What I'm seeing here is Scotty is grabbing a early town center, and he went up restoration. That's something I didn't expect, and I don't know if that's the best thing to do.
Restoration's always strong on water. Even if it's just a Shelty versus Demontis 1v1 on water, that restoration is still gonna be a huge help.
He also didn't have food for a very long time as we watched these villagers just run all the way around because his hunt moved to this hunt here. So that was a little inefficient, but we've got some pressure now. Now the game starts going as we see this dock might get denied. Potential.
What dock number is that for Joe?
That's his fourth.
Oh, okay, fourth. So.
Oh, this is gonna be close if it gets up. We're gonna have to.
The other thing, that's
back.
the aggressive dock. That's your most forward dock that kind of harasses any boats from
that
going by. So getting that up earlier, you want to get that dock up first.
Oh, that hurts there. You're right. This is a very important dock, and it stopped at 1520. And yeah, that prevents Joe from having that dock spam. And really, like right here, if I'm...
It keeps your secondary dock safe, because that'd be shooting at stuff right now and kind of harassing him before he can even get to your fish. So kind of surprised Joe built that last and didn't get it up.
Yeah. Yeah, because right now, Matrius can just stop water, because where he's at on water is a great position. Joe only has potentially 1, 2, 3, 4 fishing spots. And look at Matrius.
Smartly giving it up, and that's the other thing. Matrius did an excellent job of expanding downward and maximizing the number of locations he's fishing off of.
Yeah, and Domantas as well, spread out on the water. And Shelty just stayed on this little corner. I mean, and now we've got IKill coming forward on Shelty. This, just the way the docks went and the fish boom or lack thereof. I mean, at 7 minutes.
This is where I don't like the fact that Scatty didn't dock, because Shelty, I don't know, did he make ships at all?
Made like 4 and then
yeah,
they just
so
died.
See, Shelty's devoting resources to trying to defend the water while he's facing a Loki land rushing him with full strength. So guess what? The Loki, who's not committing any resources to water, is going to have the advantage over the Thor, who is committing resources to water. So DoD's kind of just putting Shelty behind by default. Their kind of strategy here.
What I didn't like was the town center grab by Scotty. I don't think that's what you want to do here, because then you're leaving your pocket to get doubled, as we see a huge raid coming in on the villagers. And This game is going very, very badly for DoD right here. Like, really bad.
I guess you don't know you're against the Loki, but I'm curious. It's too early in the game, but you don't want to put your wood line forward ever, kind of, unless it like has some efficiency of transferring off for gold or something. Like, it kind of surprises wood line was even forward to begin with there.
Yeah, that's. Oof.
I guess it might have been the closest.
Maybe it was the closest, but yeah, like we're looking at now. Scotty's grabbing a third town center, and Shelty got.
This is gonna boom with them.
Yeah,
This has the water and is gonna be even stronger boom.
Right.
Scotty.
and Shelty will be behind I kill because he had to. Shelty put resources into water.
That
and,
is brutal.
Oh, the prosperity getting raided by Loki Hersier. Ooh. Oh, the Iron Char spawn. This is Disastertron for DoD here. I mean, they might be able to hold this off, but losing the water.
Did
so
Shelty ever
quickly.
try to wall that gap, or?
It's walled here, but no, Shelty didn't try to wall this. I don't know why you necessarily would. But I just think DoD just didn't value water enough to where, like, the Egyptians
I can
should be
understand
docking.
Joe not being able to beat the Greek on water like that. I can understand kind of throwing and giving up, but the bottom with Scatty not helping kind of surprised me.
Yeah, like I would have thought maybe Scotty would then go, like if he doesn't go water, like maybe he would go early land to like help out. But getting a town center doesn't help
There's no reason
at all.
Scatty didn't. There's no reason Scatty couldn't have gone water. I know like fishing spots were limited, but he could have forward docked a bit and then restoration plus the double from Shelty. I mean, they could have won water fairly easily.
That would have been better than grabbing a town center by far.
Absolutely.
As we see this Leviathan is kind of single-handedly fighting here, which there's a lot of low. Three of these boats are about to go down. And 1 down, 2 down, and 3. But we've got a little bit of a town center attempt grab up here, which it'll work out. But you can see the score line that DoD is quite a bit behind.
This I really like. Joe getting his third up is huge here.
But he needs it up. But how is he going to compete with this fish?
Is Master Race heroic? I'm a little surprised he wasn't able to deny that.
He's almost heroic. Yeah, he could have if he would have like built.
I think he
maybe an
would
army
have been better off
first.
staying classic and denying that third, or at least force. You can probably force. Well, not, you can't deny it, but you
Ancestors
can like force the AE to make him get it. Joe getting that for free is huge because now he still has AE in his pocket and is able to set up.
Matrius has a decision here. He's floating almost 1,000 of resources. Does he just hop mythic?
Now Joe can go defensive. Joe can just middle up, get crenellations, and kind of just hold. And as long as Shelty is stabilized, which he kind of seems to be, Ikill's fallen back. It looks like.
We got a market
And
here.
DoD just needs to buy time for Shelty to get mythic.
All right, Hephaestus for Matrius. So he's just going to go for the early mythic push, it looks like. See, the lion is throwing his life away.
I like that, but again, Joe being Isis, I think Joe's a good enough player that he's going to have the eco and macro to hold any kind of push.
I'm not
Ikill
sure.
being on 1 TC is kind of weird this late. I know Loki, you want to jump ages and stuff, but even just for the pop boost, it's kind of nice to get a second. And
got this stalemate here at the wall, and the Mercier will finish off the poor Axeman. And we got a flaming weapons for Ikill.
Scatty just got heroic though, right on cue, so that flaming weapons is kind of canceled out with the frost.
You mean Shelty? Yeah, Shelty got up through Scotty. It's confusing when you have a player.
I'm like, I thought I was speaking clearly there.
I was thinking of Scotty. like the player. No, that's just too confusing. But here's a little raid. Like basically, the Loki Hersier have just kind of ignored this army, and now they're just running through and has a little bit of problems as we see Domitas is coming in on this gold mine here as
Both
well.
players have resto still.
And the Fimble Winter.
That is
Flaming weapons.
very nice.
Yeah, that's tough because Shelty's other gold mine is also forward. In fact, he has no. All of these gold mines are forward on this
doesn't
map.
have that much though. I think Shelty will be able to stabilize with the frost coming out of this Fimble. Another 10 seconds.
Maybe. It depends. Yeah, it depends how long Shelty can stay on that gold mine after the frost is done. And Shelty turning to fight this, and now we have a frost. What do you think of that frost?
I like it.
You like it?
Just stabilize.
I would have delayed it a little bit, because look, there's all this army that isn't here, and now is not frosted. We see Ancestor's Eclipse up on the top. Joe is just trying to push through this forward base to kind of buy himself time against Matrius, which Joe can because Matrius put 2,000 resources into Mythic Age.
This is where Matrius, like, this being a high-level play, the forward build, those 6 buildings, like, for production that he built ahead of time that need to be cleaned up, and then the militia need to deal with, that buys so much time and is just so huge.
Right, because, yeah, this push looks great, but it's really just gaining Joe 5 buildings down. As we see
exactly, so not a huge fan of that. I didn't see what caused him to have to cast it, but
and we can see that these unfrosted units have been causing absolute mayhem down here, which, well, I think Shelty should have saved his frost a little bit until, like, for the actual aggression on the mine, because I think, like, the frost here, I think IKill would have retreated anyway, and then you wait until the entire army comes up here to attack the gold mine.
I think he's in okay shape, as long as there aren't too many more crazy myth unit procs. He's got enough axemen to deal with the heroes, which are doing good numbers.
Would like to see him.
Kills also.
Alright, go ahead.
I'm just still surprised I kills on 1 TC.
Well, that's the classic
other
Loki.
thing that will it but at this, is he popped?
Close to it.
Yeah,
108 to 115. Oh, here comes a fire giant.
Limiting his myth unit spawns, and that's also been kind of keeping Shelty in these fights. So that fire giant just cleaned up like 7 axemen.
It did. Oh man, that is changing this whole fight here. I mean, it'll probably eventually go down, but it killed a ton of units there. As we still see though on the top half, the pressure still on the gold mine. Now there's a gold mine right here, but Shelty isn't gathering gold. Domitas is up. Mythic. Oh, the earthquake on Shelty's base. And oh, that's gonna do it just like that. And an abrupt end to game 1.
What was going on to the top? It looked like Joe's in trouble too.
Well, the Ancestor's Eclipse got cleaned up, and then you start having your heavy Hippocon coming forward.
Fish boom. Yep.
Free fish boom. The armory upgrade starting to come. Polyphemus. And then you've just got chariots.
Faring down to the bottom.
It's about even. I mean, Domitas is way ahead.
Domitas was way ahead on Eco because of the fish.
Right.
Yeah. I think Scatty just not docking and putting Shelty with his like C against Demontis kind of just, I feel like the game was lost there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, in the end, it wasn't quite what I thought. I thought we'd see some Chronos play here, but the UCA had a better plan going into this game, and it showed. DoD just looked kind of lost, and the biggest mistake was Scotty grabbing a town center right away, because that cost them everything over here. And it put Shelty way behind, and then IKill just romped all over, and then because water was lost, I mean, even though Scotty grabbed early town centers, he still couldn't match Domitas. And we can see the scoreline. I mean, they're way behind. Take a look at the resources. I mean, this A huge difference right here. And it's all that water differential. I mean, just they can't keep up.
I just have to Joe not getting the forward dock to kind of deflect pressure or kind of chip away a little as you punish him for going forward to pressure is what that kind of forward dock or preferably two forward docks do. But that getting denied was kind of huge. And then again, I think forcing Shelty to split like between land and water while going against a Loki who's going all out on just land, it's just
that's not gonna work.
Be making ships and spending resources there and then defending land as well. Like just those are throwing axemen that could have been made to help defend land that you don't have because you were forced to split between the two against somebody who wasn't splitting, and I think that kind of hurt Shelty.
And at the end of the game, Scotty was still in classical age. So that shows you how far behind he was of Domitas, despite.
So yeah, I mean, DoD, it was kind of a map that split things into 3 tiers, and DoD handily lost every tier there.
All right. Well, so far, things are looking good for my prediction because I said UCA would win game number 1. But that is just one game, and DoD is very good as we move on to game numero 2. And let's see, real quick, I had a few people saying hello, so let's say hello back. Blossom Goose, yes, good to have you. Pineapple Express, yes. Yo Soy Flaco, cheering for UCA. Learn math with me. No, boy's not mad at me. He gets over it. He should be used to it. Nim, hello. Blade Runner, hello. Sigma, thanks for the 24 months. That's 2 years. You see how fast I did that math in my head? And Karhast Herman says UCA dominated. And I would agree. All right. So
would you put that game into an outplayed category or strategic mistake category?
Just strategic mistake. I mean, yeah, DoD just put no value on going forward on the docks. Like, Shelty's docks are this corner. Domitas went forward.
They gave up water for nothing, and that kind of decided the game.
Yes. Yeah, you gave up water for nothing, and then you had Scotty grabbing an early town center. Oh, on YouTube it says WKT instead of DoD. I'll have to fix that later. Okay. We'll fix it later. That's all right. Game number 2 will be DoD's home map. Let's see what it is. It's Oasis. It is Oasis. All right, well, thanks for letting me know. I'll just change that later. But anyway, let's take a look at the players. We've got a slight switch on UCA. We have Swiss Boy coming in for I Kill You Die. I guess I Kill You Die didn't want to play Norse on this map, so they're bringing Swiss Boy's Uranos. The pocket player is Matrius' Poseidon, everybody's favorite Greek player. Not actually Greek, but he plays Greek. You know what I mean? And then Domitas as Hades. So Hades, Poseidon, no change there. No change in the players. And then Uranos, that is the change. On the bottom, we've got DoD looking to avenge kind of a dominating first game loss, dominating by UCA. But we've got Scotty, who's also switched to Uranos. Shelty switched to Uranos. And then I believe Joe, yes, was a Ra. So interesting. You tell me as we put the gods back on the screen if you can even read it right, Fang. Ra Uranos versus Hades Uranos Poseidon. What's the benefit there?
I kind of like DoD's lineup a bit. I think the Greeks, because of the low hunt and stuff, are a little slow to get going on this map. And I think the Atlanteans kind of can fare pretty well against the Greeks, especially the Hades with the archers and being slow, and the Terma doing extremely well against them. I also think having the 2 Uranuses versus 1 Uranos, again, DoD's going to get units out quicker for the earlier map control, and doubling an Atlantean.
Yeah.
2 other Atlanteans can kind of do some serious damage.
Yeah.
Which, again, Matrius being the pocket, I kind of like him as pocket, but at the same time, he's going to be slow to help Swiss Boy. So I'm curious to see if Dodd and Scatty and Shelty go for the double on Swiss Boy, knowing Matrius will be a bit slow to get up and going.
The one thing I did notice, though, is that when it comes to Oasis, this is towards the higher end of Hunt. We had the 5 starting Zebra, which that's the max it can be. And then we have 4 Giraffe, which I don't quite know all the limits for that, but this is towards the higher end too.
Problem is, even towards the higher end, it still ends fairly soon compared to other maps that have some plentiful hunt.
Yes. And then the question is,
you're gonna have to farm sooner on this map,
right,
even when it is high hunt, so it is gonna delay the Poseidon's ability to spam Hippicon.
Nice berries though for Matrius. The question is though, would he be able to hold it? Because I mean, you're gonna start seeing some Aranos Terma roaming the countryside, and that makes anything out of the base pretty iffy early on. What do you think of the Ra into the Hades here? That matchup.
I really like that as the Ra, because again, the talks with the limited range. I mean, if you spam enough, you can kind of hold against an Eggy, but at the same time, if there were 3 of the 3 Greeks that I'm going against as Egyptian, I definitely would prefer to go against Hades.
Yes. I have always felt as a Ra player that Hades was the easiest Greek god to play against. I just think that Hades bonuses don't really help against Ra. Ra is a little bit more weak against like aggressive stuff, which Hades really can't do. You like Ra and Oasis? Well, of course, but yeah, I like the Ra matchup into Hades because Chariot archers do well against Toxotes, which is kind of, the Hades focus.
That third TC for Domontis is also kind of in a really crappy open spot.
Yes, it is.
It wouldn't shock me to see Joe go up 4 TCs fairly quick in this.
Ooh, that was a quick age up for Swiss Boy. A 4-minute. I like the 4-minute in a Aranos.
And a early wall from Swiss Boy as well. So
also a wall.
He's going to be under pressure.
Wall by Scotty as well. I like the 4-minute here because you get your army out quicker. Now, Swiss Boy is doing barracks, counter barracks. There is the possibility on an Oasis to do double counter barracks. Sometimes you see that. And
I do like the split, especially with it kind of being a fairly high hunt, like you pointed out earlier.
I wonder if Shelty will do double. Nope. Everybody's doing barracks, counter barracks, so that's pretty standard. Joe looks like he's doing the standard 2-town center Ta. That's pretty normal. We've got the Ajax showing up on the hunt. This isn't a big deal for Joe. He should not run. In fact, he'll probably want to grab his forward town center. I assume that's what he'll do. Yeah, this should be fine. I don't know if we see a Chiron coming down. Let's see what gets trained. Yep, Chiron's getting trained. But Joe should be fine. He should be able to grab this town center, and if he really needs to, maybe use a shifting sands. But Joe is up. He's a little bit slow in his age up. He is making an armory.
Looks like a 1 TC.
Yeah. That I'm not a fan of. I don't like that. Because with the 2 Oasis here, Joe's going to have a hard time getting through all the walls and stuff. And then Domontas, yeah, he's just grabbing a back town center. He's got to watch out, though. I mean, both his heroes are forward. He's got these 2 little minions, Prometheus things, running around, little mad mud men. And just probably won't kill anything, but this, I mean, that's a lot of inefficiency here. He's just so stupid. Little punching clay man. Oh man, and here come the, looks like Shelty is coming straight up the middle to get on probably, well, now they stopped. Probably get on the pocket here, because yeah, he knows. I mean, he knows these. This is a very well placed oracle by Shelty. He sees the berries,
Sees the
sees the
yeah.
town center. He sees the hunt here. I would like... You almost could see a shockwave here just to kill 3 vills right away. I would be tempted to shockwave this. Okay, he did. You gotta get this one. This 4 hit points. Look at him. He's walking sideways. The other one is too. That's a nice shockwave. Yes, that's a good shockwave. And I think if we turn the line of sight off, yeah, we have... Swiss Boy also ran up the middle to get a raid in. He might be able to trap this Vill if he notices. If he notices.
Way past it.
Oh, nobody's noticing. And oh, now we... Oh, the shockwave to get away.
Wow,
I mean, he'll be able to defend because he's going to send an army down. Scotty will send an army down to defend that. So
too bad, because that's preventable. I mean, it's not easy. Like, it's got doing a million other things. So it does happen, but at the same time, that was preventable from Scotty's point of view.
Oh, the Minotaur might get pegged down too by these Ermillo. And now, this is where I wish Joe would be at 2 town center. Because the pressure that Shelty is putting on is slowing Domitas down so much.
Considering Domatis went 2 TC and suffered the 4 Vill losses and
Yeah.
has his heroes back, I'm kind of surprised Joe didn't go forward with that Miggle.
Yeah, see, and then he does have a Locust. We might see that soon. Did we just see it? No. Bad thing is with the Texan, I don't see what god powers.
I do like the fact that Shelty
Or mark
weakened
it.
the person who's against the Egyptian, because the Egyptian's the one player on the DoD side that's going to have that early push potential that can kind of snowball. So the fact that the Greek that has to defend against the Egyptian has kind of been weakened a bit early from Shelty's pressure is nice.
But yeah, like, here's the thing. So Joe's going for like a rating kind of gameplay. You've already got 2 gods on your team that are raiders. Why a third?
I'd like the hard push from the Egyptian here.
In which case, it's easier. You can hard push almost easier with the 2 town center anyway. Because you'll have the eco to support it all. We might... I don't know if we'd see a Locust here. It's kind of... We see a little bit of units running and chasing each other. We've got Matrix is at 2 town centers. Domitas 2 town centers. Shelty did grab a second, and Scotty is grabbing his second, as is Swiss Boy. But yeah, I feel like...
I'd even like to see... is Joe going fast Mythic for a Tornado or something?
Oh, he doesn't have the resources right now. He's gonna have a... rain coming at some point soon, but...
A little surprised he isn't even just pushing out and taking Domantis' third, seeing as he has the full map control. Because then you can set up like a forward siege workshop to eventually push and provide more pressure, and then that's a TC Domantis has to fight to get back at some point in the game.
I guess if what he could do here, or what he could have done, is because you know the Hades is going to be so defensive. I like in this situation the Ra using a shifting sands to come in on a different player, like to shift an entire army villagers. Like, imagine if, as we see the Locust right before the rain. That's to... Oh, no, don't send them! Oh, 2 villagers, they decided they were done with life. But, I mean, it's still, regardless, all this talk about what Joe maybe could have done. I mean, he's in a fantastic spot because of the pressure that the Uranus has put on. But yeah, we could...
4 build kills from the Uranus are just huge in terms of snowballing things. Like in 1 versus 1, you don't get that 4 Vil advantage early. So he's playing against a weakened Hades.
Right, and the big thing too is that was the 4 Hunt Vils, which means that the early town center was kind of pointless because he no longer had the resources to even make units from that. But Joe, I think, will be doing a 1 town center. He'll probably going up her Mythic soon. He's not got a lot of gold, but he'll make it soon.
I do kind of like the Son of Osiris catapult push versus kind of going siege tower push against Hades, especially because he has all those sentinels, which makes the siege tower push a bit trickier.
Yeah. And Scotty, he's in a good spot against Swiss Boy, which that's a tough call for. I mean, I guess if you're expecting Swiss Boy to beat Scotty, you're expecting a lot out of him. So that's a tough matchup if you're Swiss Boy, because I mean Scotty is such a good player, and we can see that Scotty is pretty far ahead. Because I'm not sure if Swiss Boy is ever going to be able to get his town center over here.
The Atlantean Mirror, the population is just huge because
Yes.
you're making the same type of units. You've got the ecos that can easily support max pop units, so the player that's on 3 TCs to 2 is going to have those extra 15 pop of military in every fight, meaning he's going to win every fight.
This is quite the raiding army here for Shelty. We can see this is the UCA Pockets raiding army right there. This is the... Oh, we have a Shifting Sands. Where did we see that? I missed where it went. Oh, he shifted his army onto this town center here. So shift an army onto this to even further delay.
I mean, yeah, if he can
Domitas.
get out, because Shelty's there with that giant army to kind of meet up with him, then
Yeah, he'll get out.
not the best use, but it's continuing to snowball the eco pressure onto Montes,
Yeah.
who's kind of not in great shape at all.
Yeah, he's way behind.
Like to see him have an exit plan, though.
Well, I mean, he's raw. He's got fast units. He should be able to get away anyway. But I
Could
mean,
have just gone straight to the wall where Shelty was and met up. But I know, kind of thinking on the fly here isn't always the easiest.
Well, whatever.
Especially because if Shelty came in and pinned Demontis' army as Demontis tried to go help, that would have been really nice.
Mm-hmm. We actually see currently Swiss Boy has Scotty pushed way back.
I think Scotty was kind of had a decent raiding party out.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he's gonna pick another Vil.
I think he picked a Villaminigo too.
But what
That said, you don't want to lose your TC, especially as
No, he
Swiss Boy
won't.
can take his own TC.
No, yeah, he won't.
Although these Atlantean mirrors, it's the mythic age is going to be key, and
Yeah,
if
whoever
Scotty's
gets first.
raiding and killing Vils and going to get mythic first to drop that tart gate, then everything else is kind of moot.
Domitas is trying to grab his forward town center now. He may.
Matrix still has C is correct.
Yes. And look at this army in the back here. We've got 2 raiding armies. Matrius full on defend. I think Domitas would have grabbed this without Cease.
This is what's killing me though. Joe could have grabbed that for like an 8-minute period earlier in the game, and then
he could
Demontis
have.
would never be getting that out throughout the game. Meanwhile, he's
Yeah.
about to equal the pop.
Yeah, because despite all of the pressure so far, as we see a restoration on this back, the back here to heal up probably all of these Hippocon that were almost dead. But yeah, despite all of this pressure that Domitas has been under, he's not super
Just
behind.
Look at the score. Joe Demontis is low, but so is Joe because
Yeah.
he's kind of been 1 TC for so long.
Yeah, eco upgrades. Ooh, not much from Joe though. Oof. Domitas, how we looking? Not much either. He does have the Cathar of Apollo. That's nice. But these medium Murmillo are kind of being a
Another thing to keep
problem.
in mind here is that the longer this goes, Matrius is deciding gets a lot stronger late
Yes.
than Shelty's Uranus.
Yes. And Swiss Boy looking okay yet. Like, you see, Scotty here is playing on a nice edge where he's really valuing some back rating and kind of sacrificing his pressure on the front, which he'll hold this again because
Little surprised Swiss Boy hasn't tried to take it yet. I wonder if he's struggling for gold. And what's the age situation in that matchup? Is either player heroic or
yeah,
going
Swiss
heroic?
Boy's economy is just all jacked up. Scotty is still classic as well, but now Scotty, all of a sudden, this pressure that looked great for Swiss Boy is
Now
now
you're
just
knocking
completely
Swiss Boy
flipped.
off front and back gold.
Yeah, and now look at this. We've got Shelty back here as well.
And
And
calling it. I think the left side matchup is gonna cave. eventually and kind of decide this game, whereas the other sides are stabilizing a tad, but I think the left
Right.
side is going to crumble a bit
Yeah, Domantas versus Joe.
sooner than UCA would like.
Yeah, like Matrix is coming down now to help,
Although
but
if Joe gets Son of Osiris with the mid-goal position and Rain Siege, he can easily
yeah.
get that 4-2 TC advantage going soon again. Demontis is still not in a great spot.
Yeah, Joe would have a really big early mythic power spike because we see Shelty is going Heat. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't think this right side of the map is really going to matter. I think it's going to be this left side. Because we've got a Heat Gate that's going to come in, a Tartarian Gate, which is probably going to be used on Swiss Boy. And then you're going to have a 2v2 on this left side, and Swiss Boy's just so far behind. Do have a Hydra.
Scatty's also taking Swiss's 4 TC.
Yeah. Oof.
I do like this from Matrius. He kind of is recognizing that Swiss Boy's in trouble and going to help him rather than kind of just letting the death come at the same time, though. Shelty's not sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah, so it's Matrius ran all the way forward to save the front, and he's going to attack Scotty. But this is going to mean that the back town center is going to fall. And you can't really, ceasefire, you can't use it. Because you're trying to get this town center down. So you're going to have this town center go down and then probably Heat-Gate, the Tartarian Gate used.
Struggling getting sandwiched from the back and the front is not good.
Oh, here's a bronze that missed a ton of units.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Now, I do know that if
He
units...
missed half his army and half of
your
limit cap bronze? I don't know. How do you miss half of both armies?
I don't know. Where did he click it? I'm not sure. It was only half a bronze was used. And now here's the Tartarian Gate and Swiss. Oh, man. Swiss boy.
Said he'd die a few minutes ago. I didn't expect him to die this quickly.
Oh, here comes the ceasefire. That's going to save everything. They saved it to...
Front TC.
Oh, he did. So
okay, that was smart. I like this. Good team play by UCA.
Well, I mean...
It at least buys time, because then Scatty's got to kill that TC, and it's easier to defend the TC. So I do like that C's to the coordination and make sure you were grabbing that TC.
Shelty is grabbing Secret of the Titans. There could maybe be an earthquake eventually.
I'm kind of surprised Joe isn't walling up here. It's a good opportunity to set up a kind of wall box for that eventual catapult siege coming.
Yep, that'd be good.
Even just throwing a building or two in TC range to tank TC fire is never terrible.
I'm not sure this town center is going to go up during a ceasefire here. Especially since...
And they're turning into a 2 versus 2, which... And Matrius has units back, so yeah.
Here come the rest of the citizens decide, no, we better get down here, but it's a little too late. Is it going to go up? We've got 0 seconds left. Any shockwaves? No shockwaves.
Scotty's targeting it.
Oh, no.
Wow. And they're going to lose this fight horribly because, again, Matrius has half his army dealing with the Tart Gate.
Oh, that's not good.
And Swiss Boy's behind on tech, so that fight is not going to go good.
No, they're going to have to retreat, and Swiss Boy's going to be knocked off of gold. Again. Matrius, I mean, is...
knocked off of gold with, like, 10 villagers. I think there's, like, 15 villagers. There's, like, 45 villagers of a normal civ just running around doing nothing right there.
Oh, Matrius getting on this little side build here. But, yeah, I think Swiss Boy's just so far behind. I mean, Matrius... is late game.
I do like him taking that back TC. But again, I don't think he's going to win a 2 versus 2 against players of Scatty and Shelty's caliber.
Right. Here comes a Titan Gate. Man, does UCA have any vision down here? They got a villager. They have no vision. Like, you could see an underworld of something, maybe. But here comes... Scotty of the Helios. I don't think they're going to get on the
Honestly,
Titan Gate.
A game like this, the Titan's just overkill. I don't think it's even needed or going to change things.
Hey, here comes some Hetairoi. Can they turn the game around? And we also have Matrius grabbing his Secret of the Titans. And now here comes the Son of Osiris. And Domantas is also Mythic through Earthquake. They're going to need to get some line of sight on this Titan Gate pretty quickly. And Shelty has the middle walled off. And I don't know if they're going to get line of sight to use that Earthquake. But, Joe? But yeah, now this front town center is down from Swiss Boy. He's at 0 town centers.
I think it's a 3 versus 2 at this point. So I think whether Titan gets up or doesn't get up, I don't think is ultimately going to impact the end result here.
And over here, it's kind of just a stalemate. I mean, probably your Ra should push through here, given he's got towers and amygdals, and then a catapult's coming out.
I need to do like a defensive earthquake.
Yeah.
That up, otherwise the Hades will eventually lose his TC.
Yeah. Oh, we've got a Pegasus coming in, but Pegasus is too late. It's not going to kill the Titan Gate.
Matrius, Underworld on Matrius's Cav, but at the same time, you've got 2 players pushing Matrius's side that he's got to defend against, so he doesn't really.
Yeah, here's a Vortex here, an Earthquake down here on all of this, and we can see taking down a lot of buildings that don't really matter. The Titan Gate is down to 27%. That's the end of the damage ticks. The town center didn't even take any damage. They must have cast it just away. And we had a shockwave on a catapult up here. We now have our catapults pushing in. We have a vortex just to kill this town center of Matrius's. And yeah, we've got Swiss Boy is kind of erased off the map. And that's going to be it. So GG, well played. The pressure, the double Oranos pressure just... Yeah, I mean, it kind of went how you kind of said it would at the beginning, right, Fang? Is that your Poseidon is just going to be a little too slow to help out, and you're going to get your Atlantean on the edge just absolutely brutalized. And that's what happened. So GG, well played to DoD, who have knotted the series up.
Kind of what we talked about last game, skill or strategic victory. I think this was a pretty handed skill victory in Dodd's favor. I think Scatty, just kind of being a level above Swiss Boy, was able to apply the pressure to multi-points, and like you said, constantly had that army in the back harassing the eco that allowed him to kind of get ahead on eco and snowball. So I do think there was a bit of a skill difference that came into play this game a bit.
Yeah, and I would say just going into it too, the God, I think the double Oranos did give a slight advantage going into it to the DoD team. As we check our resources and see Swiss Boy is way below everyone, and Joe... I mean, in the end, it didn't matter, but I wasn't a fan of what Joe did. Like, in the end, he might as well.
It's not like Joe was doubled. Keep in mind, the Atlantean killed 4 of the Hades villagers early for Joe, and yet Joe still ended up stalemated, and I don't think Matrius ever really put any pressure on Joe. So, again, Joe kind of stalemated the matchup despite having the 4-vill advantage, because I think he just was a little too passive to begin.
Yeah.
I think if he takes that TC of Damontis when he had the full map control early, I don't think Damontis ever had the army or units to ever take it back if it had just been taken by Joe early.
But in the end, it doesn't matter. Because DoD won. Well, I will point out, right, Fang?
Scotty for MVP there.
Yeah, Scotty played well. Well, actually,
Shelty was also
Shelty did
all
well
over the
too.
place on the harassment.
Yeah. So far, 1-1. So in my predictions, I would have UCA then winning a game 3 on their home map. We will dive right into that. Game numero...
You're perfect on your predictions so far.
So far. Hey, you can be right too. You went for a 3-1. I went for a 3-1. So the future's wide open as we go into game number 3, which will be UCA's home map on Anatolia. Interesting. Huh. All right, well, we're looking at DoD right now. They're on the bottom of the map. We've got Shelty as Loki. We've got Joe as Isis in the pocket. And we've got Scotty as Hades on the flank. Nothing real surprising there. On the top, we've got Mechanics, a.k.a. Blood. He is Loki. We've got Matrius Pocket Poseidon. And then we've got our Hades with Domantas as the player here. All right, what are we thinking, Raifang, of the
This
the
first
God
thing that really
matchup?
stands out and how you know this is a high level game. I love the fact that Matrius is going to dock on the Loki side. Obviously splitting the Greeks and protecting the Loki's fish with the Greek ahead of it is just huge here, and obviously a thing that was intentional and not just something that happened by accident.
Right. He's taking a little bit of time to get his
Looking for the
villager
land
down.
spot,
There
so
he is.
don't mind that.
Okay, building a house too. I guess maybe he's gonna be housed. And oh, he did get a whole. He get his villager all the way walled in. That's nice because that early
The scout
pressure.
normally, like, if you just have a building a close dock, it's not a big deal. The scout might get it a half, and then so what? But the problem is that Phil's halfway
Yeah.
across the map and can't just run back to base after the fact. So
Yeah,
if
she's
he
on her
gets it
own.
to half while he's building, then he can keep harassing it while it's getting resources and kind of lose its ability to gather at all, or it eventually kills it. So that was a really nice wall in to protect that Bill.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Because you're right. Because eventually, this villager is going to need to build more docks, and if it loses a lot of its hit points early, that kind of becomes a bit of a risk.
Even just a Vil fight, you can then send a second Vil forward if you're Scatty. If that, again, loses half the HP from the scout, send a Vil forward, and that Vil can't get a second dock. You've got to send another Vil halfway across the map. So really high-level play by Matrius there.
And what we have seen from both teams is that they double dock the side with the Norse. The reason they're doing that is because you want your Norse to be able to focus on land. And Shelty will probably build a little bit forward, which we can see that here. As he's putting a house here, which means he's going to put a temple up here. And Loki is scary with free fish. Looks like Mechanics is also kind of going to do the same thing. In the semifinals of F2 versus DoD, their Loki, F2's Loki, built super far forward and ended up absolutely blasting DoD. And it looks like Mechanics is he's definitely building more forward than or did.
Okay, I like this. He's going to go hard on Scatty. Land, and then Matrius is going to go hard water. So again, it's going to put pressure on Scatty to how do you defend land if you also have to defend water, and meanwhile you've got to pocket Egyptian and Joe, who's really not going to be able to help too much. So I do like this setup from UCA. Like, if I had to call the game now, I definitely would be picking UCA. I also like the double Greek as opposed to the Egyptian in this, because I think the double Greeks they fare better on the water with the extra ship range versus the Egyptian. And then the Egyptian being pocket also doesn't really... It's kind of hard and awkward to push if you're the Egyptian kind of pocket here, because you've got a forward mid goal, and then you kind of can be collapsed from the Loki double or the Poseidon cavalry. It's you're kind of out in the open and prone to doubles, being the pocket here as the Isis.
Scotty is really looking for the forward. And oh man, just out of line of sight. Now, I will say, like 2 minutes ago, he might see it now. He's got a waypoint up here. I don't know where he's exactly waypointing, but he did actually see. Now he's gonna see it, I think. Nope. Oh no. I don't think he's going to see it. Oh, he's going to see the purple. Oh, jeez. Oh, he sees the house just barely. Oh, man. Will he notice the house there? Yeah, I think he noticed. But wow, that scout almost managed to miss everything. Now, as long as they see the house, they'll know that's where the forward is. But now we're going to start getting into the exciting part of the game. We
It's
got
gonna be a bit of a weird game. I feel like the Lokis almost have to cancel each other, but they're on opposite corners of the
right,
map. I feel like Shelty's gonna have to come help top in order for DoD to stand a chance here.
right, because your Isis is going to do less early on. Basically, what the Isis does is does really allow a stalemate on water. But I think your scary part here is that Scotty is going to have to fight water over here and land, and is not going to get any help from the Isis. And
So
that's
Joe's holding water. Scatty's kind of gonna have to do both. Matrius is going full water. Blood Mechanics is going full land. Domontis is going to hold water. So now the key here is Shelty. What does Shelty do? Everybody else
yes,
has a defined role list of what they're supposed to be doing this game from a strategy
yes.
standpoint. Now, what does Shelty do? Shelty's kind of in no man's land a bit here.
Looks like he's coming up on. Maybe he's going to hit Matrius, because what you can do here as Shelty is, you know that the enemy Norse is going to be forward. You could go for an attack on the enemy Norse's base, because you know he's not going to have an army there. So Shelty can play in these two bases if he wants.
If he's not defending, I do like that going for the other Loki's base. I don't love going for the Poseidon's base.
He shows up here and is now just promptly running away.
What is Mechanics doing? I kind of am a little surprised he's not on top of Scatty yet.
Looks like he's coming down to Joe. I don't.
Scatty have anything defense-wise?
No, nothing. Yeah, I would rather see this go on.
Double Scatty. If you put any kind of pressure on Scatty,
Oh.
Matrius wins water because
Yeah.
Matrius is kind of
And now because he's on the pocket, this gives Shelty
allows Shelty the ability to
defend.
help out.
Yeah, I don't think he should be. I don't think he should be hitting Joe, because he's already got free towers anyway. You know. I mean, Shelty will have to kind of run back, but
Although this is kind of scary for Shelty in that he's gonna lead Mechanics right to his home base, which if he then has the advantage in numbers, he can kill
yeah,
Shelty's home base and kind of snowball a bit.
a little scary. Shelty didn't quite.
Shelty kind of got
See
lucky
it.
that he didn't follow.
Yeah, now we've got a prosperity being used, which is kind of causing the Hersier to come in because he wants to stop this prosperity as much as he can. We have a restoration up on this top fight here, which is now just a full-on 1v1 between Scotty and Matrius. Matrius fighting under his docks is going to work very well for him. Scotty, little miss micro here. And Scotty...
Other thing with blood going on Joe, though, is it's going to help Domontis win bottom water because I don't think Shelty's helping at all. So, although Joe's got pretty nice
He
feet
does.
going.
It's kind of just a stalemate here. And where are the raiding? Oh, the raiding Hersier are all going back to help defend now. So Shelty is focused on defending. Scotty took a pretty bad fight up there against Matrius, even using Resto, and still lost the fight, which tells you maybe how bad that fight was. But yeah, now Shelty's here.
Yeah,
this looks
a
good for him.
couple good trades, the low HP one if he
Yeah.
gets the pick. And then if you're Mechanics now, you've got to be careful not to lead Shelty back to you when Shelty has the numbers, because otherwise Mechanics has all his houses and buildings built forward. And again, the Loki mirror, you get behind on heroes or health, it can
Yes.
snowball and you lose your forward base.
And question in chat, could the Isis be putting up obelisks in the middle?
Looks like a raid in
You could.
Shelty's base.
Where, yeah, little raid here. And
2 Valks are nice.
yeah. We've got this town center was
Wisely
attempted
going
to be
for gold.
grabbed here. It stopped as we have a fight coming in. We've got Bragi started by Mechanics first. We've got also Nephthys and Aphrodite coming up. The big fight here.
Does Shelty have copper mail?
Oh, restoration used by Domitas on Mechanics Hersier army, which is going to cause...
Honestly love that because again,
Yes.
this is a mirror that snowballs so much where like if you fall behind, you're kind of screwed.
Yes,
so that kind of gets mechanics back ahead.
Ancestor's Eclipse in the Hades base. So no Ancestor's Eclipse push. It's just being used to get on the economy. You got them all on in the villagers here. It'll kill a few, cause a lot of idle time. Again, though, I don't know if you use this on the Hades.
I could have got a couple Vil picks. Got
a few.
Again, the heroes are out to clean. If you could like push water and win water during this, maybe,
Yeah,
but I don't think he can. So
he can with the Leviathan. The Leviathan Eclipse buff is huge.
And
but
it can just tank so much damage
yes.
against the classic ships.
Yes, so he should have attacked.
Oh, you want to lead
sooner.
with it. You want to lead with that Leviathan.
Yes, so it takes all of the thing. And he'll have 16 seconds of buffed attack. But yeah, I mean, this fight should have happened a lot quicker, I feel like, because we see a little bit of a raid here. Should have gone for Ancestor boats. That used to be a thing back in the day. But yeah, see, now Joe has to fall back on water. I don't know about that. We see a town center being grabbed forward. There, we have some... Do we have siege boats coming, or did he upgrade his ships? He got heavy cabinet.
Yeah,
which...
he has like 20 alive, so that's the heavy.
Yeah,
is huge.
It's better.
Actually, is Demontis heroic or going heroic? He is heroic. All right. I was gonna say if Ancestor's the latest heroic and allowed Joe to get more heavy like arrow ship timeout, it could have been worth it, but I think Demontis will match it.
Ooh, Scatty though on this left is in a heap of trouble. Where's his villagers going? Oh no, they're like, you know he's there. I mean, he's attacking your base. And the villagers are getting walled in? Oh man, I don't know what they were doing going forward there. And we see Shelty is coming to defend. But these villagers are out of luck. 2 escape.
Other thing is, prior to this, Scatty was losing water, or had lost water.
Yes, and now we've got the attack on this town center with 700 hit points left. We've got flaming weapons for both Loki players. Will the town center go down? It looks like it might, but maybe at a steep cost here. A lot of Ute army is getting caught and killed. We see towers get upgraded.
I think it's still worth it to tower or get that TC down because Scatty's just so far behind on Eco now, losing all those bills.
I don't know what those villagers were doing.
Water and now not having that TC to keep producing bills and get Eco off of going again.
Yeah, Scotty is
so far behind.
Yeah, way behind. And Joe now can't go forward to get a gold mine, and we might have a situation here where DoD could get gold starved depending on what happens on the right side of the map. And because now we have to also worry about if you're DoD, now that Matrius has won water, he's going to be showing up on land pretty soon. And it looks like Joe has won the water, but I think maybe it's more so of Domantas kind of just not fighting it anymore. And we've got...
Honestly, I think that's a pretty big win, especially the early pressure Joe took to win water like that. Again, kind of we talked about it last game, how Joe had some help early and kind of still didn't win his matchup. This game, it's the opposite, where he had some pressure early that
oh man,
Demontis didn't have, and Joe still won water. So good job from Joe winning water there, because that protects the Loki fish on that side, which is the huge thing. Of
flaming weapons, Fimble winner. Shelty's got to get out of here. You can't be fighting this. Oh, pathing. Oh, where are they going? Oh, the pathing there is so bad. Oh, no. He must be really clicking his units in a terrible spot for that to happen.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised he didn't retreat back towards Scatty's base. He had kind of like a clear path there.
Yeah, I don't quite know what he did with his army, but wherever he was clicking, it wasn't good because his army all just died. Like, he could have saved probably 10 hearse here, and in the end they all die. So that wasn't good. We have a Fimble winner that was used And then you got that with the flaming weapons, which then prevented Shelty from using his flaming weapons. And we can see that made a huge score difference because Shelty and Mechanics were about even in score a minute ago. And now you're in a position where I don't know if Shelty is ever going to have an army again to defend over here. We see an earthquake. Helen, that's the resign. Oh,
For
man.
that Fibble, though, I think that regardless of whether Shelty got out, I think the game was kind of like last one, where it was basically a 3 versus 2 at that point, where Scatty was so far behind. I don't think DoD was coming back, no matter how that fight for Shelty went or anything else that happened in the game. I think Scatty was just down and out.
Wow.
We did see this coming, though, right? We called it. Scatty basically staring down a Matrius that was going to go 100% water and a Mechanics that was going to pressure Scatty on land again, like kind of happened in the first game of the series. How do you defend water and land at the same time against opponents that are going 100% all out?
You can't. Now, Mechanics didn't pressure Scotty quite as early as I thought. I feel like Scotty lost the water harder than he should have, especially with the restoration. That he got absolutely just hammered on water.
Yeah, I'm curious. Was he afraid of the land pressure? Like we saw him scouting it like crazy. Was the
I don't know.
potential land pressure in his head and cause him to kind of not commit as much to water as he would have if it was just a pure water fight?
I don't know.
Joe played pretty well here, despite the early pressure. Winning water, I think, was kind of big for that side because it protects your Loki's fish, especially going against a Greek that had Resto. But although I guess the Resto did get used on the Loki, but
yeah, Joe did well. I mean, him and Domantas kind of just in the end kind of stalemated. The question in chat: why is Teal on the other side of the map? Is because your Isis player is the one who has to fight the water. Your Norse player is the one who has to fight the land. So you had the Norse on opposite corners. So another big thing to talk about too is with Mechanics building forward and Shelty not, it put Mechanics on the offensive. So DoD was kind of defending the whole game. Like, see, theoretically, Shelty could have built forward and could have maybe put on pressure that would have forced potentially Mechanics to defend. Because it's really the same. You've got Loki versus Hades, and you've got Loki versus Hades. So Shelty chose to help defend, which I always feel like in these kind of situations, the defender is on the losing end of it regardless, where like it's almost would be better just for Shelty just to ignore all of this pressure and just to pressure himself. Because I feel like defending and having the economy messed up anyway is going to hurt you anyway. So you might as well just go forward. We're looking at the score here. And is wall deletion a thing here to save resources? Not really. The problem is if you like, I think you're talking about like deleting the wall chips. If you delete the wall chips, what happens a decent amount of time is that units can start slipping through the tiny little crack in between the walls. So Age of Mythology and Age of Empires 3 is the same engine, but the pathing is maybe a little bit more refined probably in Age of Empires 3 because, well, it was the second game made on the engine. So yeah, I know you can delete the stuff in Age 3 and it still functions as a wall, but here you don't quite see it because it can leave holes where units can run through. But all right, so UCA has taken a 2-1 lead, and we're moving on to Fields of Punishment. Any last thoughts on the game, Raifang?
I thought this kind of ultimately came down to strategy. I think the double that UCA set up, I felt was kind of like a winning double. Partly, I guess, because of God choice. I think played it in effect, like having the Greeks on both sides versus having the Egyptian on water, and then the Egyptian also being pocket, not helping either. So I think the Egyptian probably
Yeah, you would have
defends a
wanted.
little better than Scatty
Yeah,
against the potential double, like if the Egyptian were on the pocket. So I think strategic and maybe partly God choice was kind of the deciding
yeah,
factor here a bit.
yeah. But short game,
I
14
don't think Dodd
minutes.
played terrible. I think it kind of was more just the God situation and player placement that
Mm-hmm.
kind of did them in a bit.
Yeah, sometimes that's the way it goes. But Gustavo, hello, good to have you. And Easy Hunt, thank you for the kind words. And we're gonna move on to game number 4. Keep in mind again, guys, you see 5 games here. There may or may not be 5 games. I always get the games provided to me in full. So this could be a dummy game or this could not. But game 4 will be on Fields of Punishment. We'll talk about that as we start the map. Or start the game. Here we go. Loki Oranos. Side 80s Loki. All right. Okay, Fields of Punishment. We're moving on to the depths of Hades for this match. And we are looking at UCA currently on the left side of the map. We've got Domintas. Hades again. Been playing Hades all series. Mechanics is playing as Loki. And then we've got Matrius playing as Poseidon. So Hades, Loki, Poseidon. And on the right, we've got DoD. Scotty switching back to Aranos. Joe switching over to Loki. You might say Joe playing Loki? How does that work? Well, it actually works pretty well. Joe's played it before in RTS League matches and has played well. So that it looks like it might be a bit of a rough matchup. Joe's Loki versus Mechanics Loki, but not necessarily. But the third player then is also Loki. So we've got Loki, Aranos, Poseidon, Hades, Loki on Fields of Punishment. Right, Fang? What's your first thoughts about the god choices here?
We talked about this map pregame, I think, before the stream was on, and we said it was the Loki Uranus map. And hey, what do you know? Dodd is pure Loki Uranus, so we kind of knew this was coming a bit. What kind of surprised me, though, is that UCA went double Greek, and not just double Greek, but one of the Greeks being the Hades that Tamantas likes to play. It's a bit more of a defensive god with not really strong, fast units, which on an open map like this against 3 fast raiding gods on the other side, I think is going to put UCA in a bit of a pickle here, especially poor Mechanic / Blood, who's going to have to defend as Loki against 3 aggressive gods by himself. Which I think it wouldn't shock me if we see what we saw the last 2 games where one player crumbles, and that player crumbling is probably going to be the solo Loki who's got to defend against the triple pressure.
Yeah, I'm surprised that UCA didn't show up with a Aranos, but maybe they didn't based on how their Aranos fared on Oasis, and maybe they thought, well, shoot, we'd maybe better just avoid that altogether.
Your best players can play.
But anyway, real quick, we'll talk about the map. So the map Fields of Punishment is a newer-ish map. I mean, by newer, I mean like 5 years old, I guess, which isn't super new, but compared to the life of AOT, is pretty new. This is a wide open map, a lot of hunt, which is typically boar. There is some caribou. However, because it's wide open and so much of the hunt does tend to spawn towards the middle, it's not as safe of a hunt map as you might see from like a marsh. This is, I'd say, kind of plays a little bit like a savanna, I guess. In savanna, the raiding gods reign supreme, and that's why we're seeing these raiding gods. I do like DoD's gods better. I thought I'd see a little bit more of like raiding early power gods from UCA, but no. Like we see Mechanics is having to basically build right in his base because of the gods that are happening. He can't build forward, or his forward's just gonna disappear. We do see.
I was looking at the map wrong. I just realized Mechanics is pocket though, which is a bit of a nice thing. The tree right on the gold already.
Yeah, little berry bushes. So that's just like a little Easter egg here in this map. Is there this little berry bush that are randomly spawned on the map? They have like 25 hit points, so they do die right away. The one thing they aren't useful though is that they do a number on Oracle scouting. We can see this one's getting chased by 3, and he's just leading it into the basin here. He'll probably delete the Oracle here, maybe, and then just leave the berries behind to just do a little annoyance on the Ulfsark. But I mean, the town center will kill them all. I wonder if they give favor. Oh, they don't. No favor given to the Loki for this. But yeah, just a little Easter egg hunt to kind of Easter egg hunt, an Easter.
I do like mechanics.
egg.
The mechanics knows the pressure is gonna come. Probably the tree foreshadowing it was a nice reminder. But I do like the early balling and defense because he knows he's gonna be getting doubled or tripled throughout this entire game.
We're seeing Hermes from Matrius, no surprise. We're seeing Athena from Hades, no surprise. And then you got your Uranos over here. I think Uranos into Hades is a very good matchup for the Uranos. Because the Hades doesn't have... I mean, the Hades will have to go probably some Hippocon.
Those slow units that are so vulnerable to shockwaves. So
yeah. So I think
you kind of have
is...
to turtle if you're the Hades, which then leaves your Loki pocket to get doubled.
Yep.
That's kind of the problem with the Hades here.
And speaking of the Loki pockets, here we've got Joe coming forward. We see the spy used on the Herseer. This is the best use of spy, is on the enemy raiding army. Because sure, you could put it on an enemy villager and know where the villager is, but realistically, if you're playing at a good level, you should kind of be able to find villagers anyway. But what's more important is knowing where the hunt is.
Thing.
Yeah. Yes. But yeah, what's more important, because you can't track, is where are the raids coming from. And so here we have this early spy. We see Hall of Thames being researched for mechanics, which makes the Herseer run so much faster. That's the big technology to get. Shelty is being a little bit more defensive than I think he should be.
Also, keep in mind, mechanics has played this
he does have
Loki
4.
mirror like 1,000 times and more than any player, because he kind of is the mono god Loki. And not surprisingly, look at him getting the Hall of Thanes like a good 50% sooner than everyone else. Okay,
Shelty is forward with some army. I guess he has to keep a few units here in case the Greek units show up. A nice walling by Matrius here to protect his economy. And now we've starting
he's
this...
got quite a bit of units out early. The Poseidon can do okay against the Loki here with the quick cavalry and the upgrades making it bulky. So the Poseidon isn't too terrible matching up against Loki.
This is brave. The second town center by Domintas.
The second town center that's in the middle of nowhere and near no resources or wood lines or...
Yes. Domintas does have a nice hunt pack right here.
Although, look, what we're seeing, talking about doubles, Scatty doesn't even care about Domantas. He's going straight for the double on blood.
Yeah, they just need to get their army... Okay. Ooh, here's a little bit of a raid on the food villagers. We do have the Hippocon here to defend, but we got Shelty here as well. We've got
double raid.
2, and we've got now kind of a 3v2 up here. We've got a shockwave. Oh, we've got a lot of villagers dying.
He's gonna lose his entire food eco.
Yeah, that hurts.
This is what we said. The Loki was gonna get raided, and it's gonna be a 3 versus 2 because of the Hades. Hey, look what is happening 7 minutes into the game.
And this again is why I don't understand the early... Hey, here comes the restoration. He was way too late. Like, after the villagers are dead. But yeah, this is what I don't understand, again, with the early town center grab, is you just leave your allies on... Even the
thing is, though, as the
dead.
Hades, you can't, like, the 1 TC Hades, it's just not going to be that effective. Like, what do you make? Hippocon to... as Hades in mass, they're slow. They can't get the Hermes upgrade to boost their speed, which you need to chase the Loki. So, I mean, the Hades kind of just has no way to help in this kind of matchup.
I mean, he can do cavalry. It's just not quite as cheap as a Poseidon, and the Chiron is a really good hero. Like, yeah, you can't make Toxotes, and you can't make Hoplites because they're just so slow. It's not like a Zeus, but yeah, I think the Hades can make cavalry and be all right. Is now we see again some more pressure coming in on these food villagers who have to run, and this is scary. Your Loki is kind of your power player here, as we see another big fight here. So there's so many different players. There's 5 players here, and again it's a 3v2. And Matrius staying maybe a little bit too long, and now here comes Delmatos to the rescue. And now he has to be like, oh, I'm too late. Gotta run.
Where did the food bills for mechanics go?
Up here, they're eating.
Oh.
Eating Matrius's goats. Oh.
I can't recall the last time I've seen somebody having to eat their teammates' goats. It's 9 minutes into the game. Probably not a good sign.
No, and we got Scotty being... This is brave getting this town center, but with the pressure they're putting on, it's kind of safe.
There's not a single unit on that side of the map.
Not a single one.
Ghost town down there.
And we see Joe is already aging up Bragi, and
Forward temple to get the battle boars out closer to battle.
Mechanics not even close.
This is gonna get scary though. I do like the sentinels in the Loki's base at least.
Look at the raid
I almost
here.
Feel like...
Shoot. And yep, now Scotty could fight this because there's not enough Herseer here, and the Herseer got to get out of here.
Well, you lose your food economy as the Loki, and then you can't make units, so then losing every unit's gonna be huge.
So the temple down, but who really cares? Like, think of the value.
Where is Shelty on the map right now? Oh, is he healing?
Yeah, he's healing. Yep, he's healing and then was saving up just to age up to Bragi as well.
Okay.
But, yeah.
I almost feel like they should TC dive, double TC dive, although they do have the ceasefire. That ceasefire is probably huge, otherwise this game would be over in a minute. Still, I think you can Battleboard dive Matrius now that the Sentinels have been used on the Loki, and the Loki has the towers. I think Matrius even have his tower upgrade.
No, but I will say what this is important. This right here is big. It depends on where Scotty goes. He's kind of going the wrong way, but there is some open villagers down here, and we got the Hippocon coming to help, and we've also got the Herseer coming. But yeah, now we've got 2 Loki on the other team that are now heroic age, which then buffs their Herseer. So real quick here, so Herseer are a unit in that because they're heroes, and most heroes work this way, every age up increases the hero hit points and attack. So we can see the comparison here between Mechanics Classical Age is 156 HP and 8.8. We've got then 169 HP and 9.6 attack, along with a little more on the line of sights from the technology. But yeah, so this will make the Herseer from Shelty better than Mechanics, but they gotta be careful here not to start losing all their Herseer. And what did we just see get used? It looks like a Valor got used. Now we've got a 3v3 right in the middle of the map here.
I like this for DoD. The double Lokis are gonna spawn more myth units. Mechanics also probably has half the army as the other Lokis because he's so far behind the game at this point. I don't see how UCA wins this fight.
Well, Shelty doesn't have many units. But yeah, you've now got the mythic, heroic age myth units showing up, and there's not enough heroes to defend.
That's the other thing. The Greek is classical Greek struggles so much to deal with against the Loki heroic myth unit spam because you've only got the 2 heroes, and they've got to come from the TC to reinforce. So if those 2 heroes die and then the myth unit spawns go crazy, the Greeks just have no way to deal with them. Yep,
because we can see we've got what was that? Oh, a shockwave down here for some reason. My screen shook. Yeah, we had kind of a random shockwave. But yeah, we can see Scotty is now Scotty has map control on this side. I mean, look at the map. DoD has map control up through here. Like, UC has nothing as far as map control. And it's scary. I almost would have liked on that fight, though, as we see another fight here coming in, though. And we've got Joe and Shelty here against Mechanics and Matrius. And again, you got your Your Heroic Age myth units are coming, but I think we
I
might need
think
to
there's
see
something
Joe.
going on in Matrius's base. Is there some
Nope.
pink?
Nope.
Oh, okay, never
Oh,
mind.
it is pink. He's still.
Yeah, I'm mixing up my teams.
Okay, we've got Braggy coming up for mechanics. What we could have maybe seen on this big fight, I don't know if it would have been worth it, was maybe to have one of DoD's players use flaming weapons just to kill the ceasefire.
Or tilt the fight. I don't think you use C's there. I think you still would have had to save it for like a TC dive.
So that's what I mean. It would have cleaned up even more or would have forced out a ceasefire. We've got a little bit of fight
yeah,
here.
you do have the 2 flaming weapons. You only have 1 ceasefire on the other team.
Yeah, you gotta at some point.
I wonder if they don't want to force a ceasefire at this point. If they feel like the ceasefire would just help.
I think
UCA
you want
at this point.
No, see, I think you want to, because if you're ahead and you stop fighting, then that means they go mythic.
Flaming weapons.
Yes, and then you're mythic as well. But maybe they're saving it for, as we see 5 Battleborn coming in on the town center. Where are heroes? There's Hippolyta down here. There's also a mountain giant coming up this direction.
TC will go down.
It probably will. No, they're turning. The Battleborn are turning. Mountain giant.
It's gotta be a
Here
misclick,
comes
right?
some Herseer coming in as well. Well, I think he wanted to damage the Hippocon so that the Herseer would do better. But now we got the mountain giant just plugging away while Hippolyta. Okay, she's gone back on the mountain giant. And this is forcing Shelty back.
Bit of a dog kind of getting doubled, like getting hit by 2 players with a bit of lack of coordination here a bit.
Oh, here is the first Thimble winner,
that
flaming weapons. And the town center is damaged. You should be able to get this town center down. He needs to get it down before ceasefire is up, because then he could potentially grab it.
That's a really smart decision or way to play things.
But yeah, these Herseer aren't
too long.
Yeah, these Herseer aren't where they need to be. They needed to get on the town center. Because you want this down. Here comes Shelty.
Shelty, I think, just took a lot of damage on his units right before that with this kind of failed raid.
He did. The town center is gonna go down. Now he needs to start building it if he's got the resources. I would like to see a Norse player grab it. Oh, Shelty gets it! That's so good. Because now Shelty... Oh, the fight over the town center. Who could get it? Oh, man, that's huge. And Matrius can't get it up. He might be able to get the... Oh, no! The ceasefire and DoD as the town center. Oh.
All of Matrius's farms, too.
Oh, man.
16 farms there.
I mean, you got to. He had to use ceasefire there to try to get his town center up. Otherwise, he was never going to get it up. There was
no escape route, yeah.
But now he's royally screwed. And what has been going on the bottom, I'm really not sure. Looks like some raiding and Scotty taking both town centers forward here so that there's this open one in the back that nobody wants. As we see, another tier has come up. We've got Artemis coming. We've got Helios coming. So players are aging up. But now Matrius, what is he going to do? We have flaming weapons,
and then you can take Matrius's other TC.
Oh, Mechanics got in his flaming weapons. So Mechanics was the one who was up.
Oh, whoops. Second time I've mistaken the G Mechanics is on this game.
So we've got... This isn't a super great fight for Shelty.
Where is Joe's army?
They're down here on Mechanics base.
Don't really love that. Mechanics
doesn't matter.
Eco is so bad that you kind of don't need to.
Doesn't matter.
Over at that point.
It's over. It's over. 2-2. We're going to a game 5. Oh, this is awesome. Game 5 and all 4 games have been fast-paced. This was a fun game here. Oh, this play over the town center and the ceasefire was just awesome. But
I don't think it ultimately would have mattered because Mechanics was so far behind, but it was fun to watch.
yeah,
I
and
can't think of the last time I've seen it get knocked down like 3 or 4 times like that.
it was
That was a
so,
good job by Shelty to keep grabbing it that quickly. He clearly
yes,
was spamming it.
yes, good thinking too, because they were. I mean, as casters watching, it's so much easier for us to like be set, seeing what do players need to do, and it was well done by DoD to realize we need to get this town center down before Fimbulwinter is up, and then we need to grab it as soon as it's done to try to block any sort of ceasefire town center rebuild. So very well done by DoD there, and again, kind of goes back to what we talked about at the beginning. On an open land map like this, 3 raiding gods should beat a team with only 2 early aggressive gods. And again, the early town center grab just...
The Hades is just it's just really nothing you can do as Hades here because even if you do go the Hippicons, they're slower than the Loki heroes. To the Loki heroes, anytime they catch you out of position, as the Hades are going to be doing damage to your cavalry, spamming myth units, and
I'm actually surprised that the economies were so close. I would have thought that DoD would be a little bit better, but I guess having 2 Lokis, their economy for Loki isn't super necessary.
I think it was partly even canceled out by the fact that, well, Mechanics had an awful eco because he got his food rated early, whereas Demontis took the 2 TCs, so probably had a strong eco, whereas the Lokis on DoD were kind of just 1 TC-ish ecos, so
yeah, we could see.
Demontis doing the 2 TC provided a boost, whereas Mechanics getting rated created a delta, and that's why it was roughly comparable between the teams.
And, I mean, yeah, that early pressure on the food is what makes such a huge difference here because of the way Herseer's...
Honestly, a little surprised Mechanics let his food get caught like that. Like, he knew the triple or double was coming this game.
And he had a spy
early, yet he kind of let his food get caught.
Yeah.
That kind of snowballed the game.
Yeah, and if you remember, that Herseer raiding group was even spied. Like, he knew they were coming, but either didn't realize, he didn't notice, or thought that Matrius would be able to help out. But yeah, the early 2 town center, I mean, it works if your allies don't get raided. And in this case, well, they got raided, and
there's also some level of risk taking you have to take there. Like, it's easy to sit here and say, oh, you can just safely get food within your base, but the reality is if you're getting food in your base early, whereas your opponents are free hunting, you're falling behind no matter what. So at some point you kind of might have to just make the hard call of, hey, like, I've got to stay on my hunt even though it's risky, because otherwise I'm just going to fall behind if I go play it safe in my base. So
yep. Well,
keep that in mind rather than just straight blaming the player.
Well, this has been a great final so far. Now, both of our predictions as far as the score line are now wrong. I picked UCA in 4 games. You picked DoD in 4 games. In the end, we do go to a game 5. Winner takes all here. Now, there's a little bit of RNG because it's a random map. But let's just jump right into it. Going to game 5. Random map. So what you're going to see here is more of kind of your meta gods because it's random maps. So you're going to pick gods that are going to be good on most maps. So we'll probably see more Greek, Loki, and Uranus. So let's see. Random gives Oasis again.
Was there any rule in place that the 4 initial maps can't be repeated?
Nope.
I assume not, since you're watching the rec. And
Yeah. Good question, though. All right, who are we looking at? We're looking at Shelty, Loki, Joe, Loki. Scotty Aranos. So, Loki. Double Loki on Oasis. But we've got Mechanics also with Loki. And then we've got Domitas as Hades. And then we've got Matrius as Poseidon. Ooh, so I would say that
I,
DoD maybe lost the map lottery a little bit.
yes, but they won the position lottery big time. If you look at this Oasis, this is the weird version, whereas one player on the side has like an extremely tight wood line that's extremely easy to defend, whereas the player on the opposing side is about as wide open as can be. And for this positional matchup, the UCA Loki kind of got rated to crap last game is in the complete wide open side,
Mm-hmm.
which is a bit of a problem for UCA.
And your Uranos is gonna be able to defend easier earlier. So yeah, that's good. Looking at the hunt, not a lot. 3 zebra, and then just 2 giraffe, 3 gazelle. So not as high of a hunt as last time. But the one thing though, if you're DoD though, that you gotta be worried about is you got 2 Loki on Oasis, and Loki need a lot of food to do what they need to do, and that's scary. The Uranos, I feel like, should play pretty well into the Poseidon here, especially because of the forward hunt for the Poseidon. A lot of berries here, too. And again, your Hades isn't going to give you a ton of value early, but here, because there's not as much hunt, I feel like if the Hades wants to grab a town center, might not be
I think the Hades has
quite
to
as
grab
bad.
a town center because I don't think the 1 TC Hades is going to help you win the game against chasing Lokis around.
So, yeah. So you think that Mechanics is going to be the one who's getting targeted here?
I'm calling it now. Only this time I think he's going to hold just enough to allow Demontis's 2TC boom to kick in a bit, and I think he's just going to underworld onto the back of Joe and eventually kill Joe.
Mechanics
Yeah,
got a lot of goats.
that's really, really good for him.
11 to 6, which 12 to 6. That's
Did Shelty start off by back hunting, whereas Mechanics forward hunted?
no, he went forward. He just
Well, no. Who scouted behind Shelty? Did he just scout that now, or
I think he sent the Ulsark back.
that's so? This
Maybe.
is a bit of a skill thing where
Not
Mechanics
sure.
sent his all pure forward.
Maybe.
I could be wrong if we missed it, but based on scouting past, it looked like Mechanics just went straight forward with the scouting and got all the forward goats and used goats to back scout, where Shelty kind of back scouted, and as a result, Mechanics has the higher goat population.
What do you
It's a little
think?
thing, but
What do you think of seeing Scotty do a 4-minute here instead of a 4:30 and doing an Oracle rush on the hunt? Do you think that would have been a good play?
if you know his hunt's going to be there, of course it's a good play, but it's kind of something you need to commit to
saw it.
early, and you
Yeah.
don't necessarily know.
Scotty got a lot
Although,
of goats.
yeah, 4:30.
I mean, 4:30 is more standard.
Like
Oh,
I
wait.
said, I think you need like 100% commit to the 4-minute ahead of time, and then if they
Ooh.
do end up with that kind of hunt, it's good, but it's kind of risky or unpredictable. That's a
Kopesh's
huge
Horus.
relic in this game.
Yes,
Against
plus
the Lokis.
a plus 100% bonus damage for a hero. Now, I would almost give it to the Loki, though.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Because then the Hersier are going to even further... Because you might say, like, well, Hersier versus Hersier and Myth units. The Myth units don't do a lot. They actually do, because they tank so
They
much
tank
damage.
shots, and tanking 50% less shots is a huge deal.
So maybe he's going to give it to him anyway. It looks like maybe that's what he is going to do. Because, yeah, it definitely should. As we can see, both Loki players on the edge are walling because they're afraid of pressure here. But we've got Domitas sitting here on this hunt. We've got the little Promethean Claymen coming up here, punching villagers. And just trying to cause some idle time. He kind of is doing that. Could have been a little bit better. And the villagers know you can't stay here for long.
Knock him off that hunt though, so yeah, that's kind of big.
Well, they know. I mean, you know that the Poseidon can't really match, and oh, he's trying to get that villager with the Promethean. Oh, a shockwave just to kill the villager. I mean, okay. I guess a shockwave early to kill one villager. Why not? What? Minus 10% villager cost. That's also nice. Look at this gold mine though. This is scary. A scary gold mine
I don't see any back golds either, and again, this is kind of the funky map or
right here.
spawn where there's not. Oh, okay, there's one.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of land behind Matrius because of the kind of funky map.
There's
positioning.
another bat gold here, so there are
Okay, they do have two.
Yeah, this is where the Loki is. So they're doubling Matrius and not mechanics, which was kind of actually in the way it played kind of good because Domantas came down here to defend mechanics. So this might be good.
The
And
thing is,
this
Matrius
is
can wall in so much and defend that.
I don't know though, because Matrius with his stables here, I mean, and the forward
I guess
gold
yeah,
line?
the Loki can farm the stables while the Uranus provides kind of ranged cover.
Yeah, he's trying to get this. Now, killing the granary does... Okay, very smart. He's not going to kill the granary to give the free militia.
Did we see it up with the hero damage relic? Or is it still on the hero? I think the hero.
Oh, he's taking it.
Yeah.
The Greek is taking. Here's our first fight here. Got to be careful these early fights because the Einerjar spawn is so huge. The Valk's good too. Einerjar is big because of the attack bonus it gives. And this is a close fight. It looks like though Mechanics is coming out on top. And here's the Resto that probably didn't.
I love this Resto again for the second game in a row. The Loki mirror is just so tight that it can snowball so easily in terms of, especially because there's only so much food on a map like Oasis.
Oh, nice ghost
that
build.
If you get behind, there's kind of not the food to catch up.
Oh, nice surround here. And they're stuck. They are. Oh, no, no. Oh, no, now you're back. Oh, that's three more.
That's like a 8 hero delta for Mechanics versus Shelty at the moment, which is just gonna. Joe does come over here hopefully to help.
Yeah, and we see that Domantas did grab a second town center, but yeah. So the way he uses that Resto there, so yeah. In the end, I thought maybe it was cast maybe a little bit later than it should have been, but what it does do, I mean, all these firsts are now full HP, which is so good. But yeah, using your Resto like that, in a way, almost doubles the early Hersier number by Mechanics, kind of, if you know what I'm saying. So that's kind of how the Hades here is helping out, is by just
this is why I didn't like Dodd's decision to double Matrius from the start. I mean, look, he just walled in and nothing's really been done. Yeah. Whereas now Shelty's behind in this mirror when there's no reason Joe couldn't have doubled Mechanics off the start and put him behind.
And man, Mechanics has so many goats that he's going to be getting a pretty solid heroic age timing. And these first here are running back. We've got some raiding units from Scotty all the way across the map here. And which means that Matrius is free to do whatever he wants over here. We have got Scotty grabbing a town center.
I like Joe taking a second TC early here. I feel like with the not being a high hunt, getting some more eco out early as Loki isn't a terrible thing.
This could be bad though.
And then the population boost is also nice considering the free myth units at spawn based on pop.
The Mechanics, I am assuming, is just going to go H heroic. This could be dangerous right here. These Hippocon are so close to Joe's goal. Do they know that they're there anyway? He knows about the gold mine, so he's checking it. And he is going to ka-ching, ka-ching, win the lottery of which gold mine he went to. And there they are. And that's a big hit for Joe.
I don't think he's anywhere near to defend few
he's
units,
got
but I think
3 Hersier
units are to the top on the Hades. What's going on at the top?
Just again double this Probably not going to accomplish a whole lot up
So
here.
yeah, I'm trying, like, at this point in the game, what is the Hades really even going to have out that you can kind of pick off?
Well, nothing.
This is where the goats for mechanics are just huge because
Yeah.
he's kind of turtled in. I
Well,
feel like go ahead.
one thing I was going to say, though, is Joe kind of screwed himself by going to a forward gold mine when you've got all of these gold mines in the back.
Got the 2 safe ones on the near side that are easily wall-offable.
Yeah, and so like that's kind of the difference here is like Matrius and Domantas are basically the same position as Shelty and Joe as far as map, and they went back, and Joe kind of went forward. You see the Hersier are getting punched away by the Hades Hippicon, and yeah, this game, the start is...
I honestly think I would have loved Joe or somebody to take Demontis's forward. If you got the 2 Lokis doubling mechanics and keeping him in check, and then you take Demontis's third, I feel like you kind of can pin Demontis back in that corner pretty well.
Mechanics is at 2 town centers and aging as well. Yeah, I mean, you can take that, but I don't... It's risky. And these Hippicon here are being so annoying. But we've got some... We've got to just time this out a little bit better. We got a random Valor here. You'd like to get a Villager in on the Valor. And now the Hippicon should probably run, as we got now Blue's Hersier showing up. And Matrius... Well, I mean, these Hippicon tank forever. And will they win this fight? Surely not.
They're not going to win against the heroes. I think he kind of overstayed.
Oh, well, the hero kind of a mutual retreat.
Scotty's kind of mid a.
Ooh, nice.
Scotty's
nice.
kind of had a rough game because
He hasn't been able to hit anything.
Can't really deal with the walls. Yeah, it's so easy for Matrius to kind of wall off.
Oh, flaming weapons down here. I mean, mechanics is way ahead of Shelty's. We got a flaming weapons on the villagers as they're coming backwards. And how does Shelty defend this? He's got to fight. And he's aged up now.
With flaming weapons, he'll be fine.
That's good. That's good. I didn't know he was so close to hitting up. Oh, it's because it should show up. Okay, I didn't know he was so close. So that was clutch. That came in just in time. And Shelty should probably finish this wall off. It looks like he's trying
he's
to.
He's going for it to trap him.
He's trying.
Play. Second game in a row by Shelty with the heads-up plays.
And this is a nice fight here for Shelty now. And yep, he's walling it off to remove any retreat. Hersier needs
Kind of shocking to me. Demontis, like with that early resto fighting, getting the 8-hero advantage early. I'm kind of surprised he's now running.
These Hippicon are going the wrong way. Oh, he juked. Oh, there.
See, this is the problem with Hades, though, which is why I said I hated him last game and I hate him this game. Without the Hermes upgrade, the cavalry kind of can just get feasted on by the Loki because they're slower than the Loki heroes.
That was a lot of units, a lot of damage here, but still, Domantas is the only one at 3 town centers. I mean, he's been full booming behind all of this, and because Scotty has kind of ran over here a lot, Matrius is in a good position too. So, but wow, Shelty is keeping this closer than I thought he was. I guess the difference is he is at 1 town center.
I just noticed that as well. Yes, that's kind of now big.
He's about to get doubled on his gold mine, and Joe is nowhere to be seen for help as here come the Hippicon, and that is going to be disastrous for Shelty. He's got a few units coming down to help out, chasing the Hersier over here. Joe has a large army, but we can see it's currently bogged up.
I'd like to see Joe dive Mechanics' third or forward TC. That's kind of defenseless. Yeah, there's a lot of eco there, and especially food eco with the farms, and there's kind of no defense for it.
Yeah, he should not go to the Hades.
He should also know that Mechanics' gold is also in that corner, so not only can you tear through the TC, but you can then tear through and go for that 1 gold that Mechanics has at the moment.
Yeah. Why is Joe coming here when he knows that the army is here? As here comes the underworld, and now we've got... Oh, man. right on top of the gold mine. And Joe, I guess, is going to try to kill the underworld now. And maybe that's what he was thinking. As
Both players can go through the underworld and defend it, though.
we have a flaming weapons here. And yeah, now we have a ceasefire. I don't know if that ceasefire was needed. Oh, he's going to grab this town center. Domitas is going to grab the town center here.
Ceasefire is fine because I think they can defend the underworld because, again, kind of Shelty's weak at the moment. So
Yeah.
Mechanics and Domantas double up and both going through the underworld. I don't think Joe will be able to kill the underworld without flaming weapons.
Well, I was thinking that maybe the cease could have been held on a little bit. But I guess in the end, if 60 seconds is 60 seconds, does it really matter if it's 10 seconds later? But we got this town center being grabbed, and Shelty is essentially cut off from Joe now.
In trouble because he's lost a lot of bills, especially gold bills, and he's on 1 TC still. Or he just got a second TC, but he's been on 1 TC all game, so it's not like he was had a lot of bills to spare.
Atreus up heroic. Right now we have Scotty grabbing the forward town center during ceasefire. It is also aging up. We've got an earthquake coming in. The town center not quite up. Oh no. But we see an earthquake. Mechanics is back here. We have an earthquake used on the base. Yeah. Oh man.
Where's Mechanics' hero army though?
Right here. He was back for something.
They just went back to heal, I guess.
Oh man. Joe uses the Nidhogg. He's on this. But again, that underworld is so valuable. This aggression by Joe has accomplished nothing.
I think that sums up Joe's game to this point.
Like, I know, so, like, you got the tough Hades Town Center here. You've got Shelty is just completely dead. This Town Center did get denied, but Shelty's got nothing going for him. And we've got this.
We missed this. Scatty took Matrius's third, which
Oh,
is huge.
I pointed that out real quick.
I guess I was sleeping.
You were asleep, yeah. But, yeah, this aggression by Joe, I mean, I guess it forced Domitas back through the gate, but what's this accomplishing? He's used his whole army.
Loved to. I guess the underworld complicates thing a little bit, but I feel Joe had timings to hit Mechanics' forward TC, which really has no defense. There's no sentinel, or I guess he could have cast sentinels, but
now we've got a, oh man, we got a Nidhogg down here. Oh, that is so hard for Shelty to take care of here.
No counter for that.
Yeah, I mean Shelty.
And even worse is his opponent or teammate is the fellow Loki, although I guess if he could get some fire giants.
Oh man, Perseus gets the fire giant. Scotty is in a really strong position against Matrius, all in on the town center here. This is looking good. Scotty is also up Mythic as well, but again, you've got, oh, he has Masons. That's really important. That's huge in this situation. The extra 12%.
Kind of surprised Matrius is struggling here. I guess he lost.
This is a good matchup for Aranos.
Gaddy did just free boom.
Yeah, it's a good
Matrius
matchup
was
for
raiding
Aranos.
Joe and helping on Shelty rather than harassing Scatty.
But yeah, oh, here comes another earthquake. Where to use this one? Here, maybe?
I don't think that really helps you that much. You don't have the units to kind of push back if you're Matrius.
Oh, here comes Stomatas back through the underworld to grab this again. And again, this Nidhogg, where did it go? It has 1,958 health left. Barely even touched so far.
You just hold on to the earthquake at this point.
You don't need it.
You don't need it, yeah. Maybe save it if Scatty gets more of a building push going.
And this push here has been completely useless. We have an underworld. The earthquake is used on Joe's base. Does kill the town center. Kills a lot of Ulsarks actually as well. And this is going to slow down Joe as far as like doing any help to this side. And Shelty's actually kind of staying in longer than I thought he would. But again,
wouldn't necessarily say staying in at this point. I'm kind of surprised he's building that TC, but I think his eco has got to be so devastated at this point.
here come the Chimera, the best unit in the game right here. They're so fun, roasting everything. And again, here's another thing where this is similar to Joe's attack, is that Scotty has the advantage in a large army, but the pressure isn't doing anything. It's just stalemating, and you can't stalemate, as we see his Loki players, his Loki teammates are in full retreat on both sides of the map. You got Joe's base is down, Shelty's base is almost down, and it is not looking good for DoD in this final game. Best of 5. This is the winner takes all. Scotty looking good, but it's not good enough considering his teammates are pretty much out. And now we have all these Herser coming in on this town center. And it is not looking good at all. They'd like to see the... Yeah, let's roast some throwing axemen over here. Oh, they're going to hide. Cowards. Pop on the other side. Do they have the upgrade? No.
Little surprised we haven't seen just battle boars or fire giants killing Shelty's forward TC at this point.
Yeah, kind of interesting. The mechanic keeps coming in here when you've got that town center there, and we've got some nice raids. Oh! Oh! Oh man!
They're gonna let Scatty just free farm at this point.
Oh
no
man!
Left to help him.
Those dwarves just took a visit to Matrius's barbecue, and they did not come out. Oh, jeez. Wow. Well, if the game wasn't over, it's over now. Because that was a destruction right there. And we've got the town center of Shelty is being grabbed, and Shelty calls it. First to resign, Joe second, Scotty third, and DoD falls in the 5th and final game of the RTS League Season 32. And the defending champions, DoD, have been knocked off, and we've got a new champion. The Uncrappables, for the first time in their history, have won RTS League. A perennial semifinalist. They finally got to the finals and won. Here they are. GG, well played. What a fun series.
Yeah, I'm thrilled we got a nice 5-game back and forth series with an unpredictable result. The semifinals kind of were not that even, so this was a very pleasant and entertaining series to wrap things up.
UCA the champs. Yeah, what a series. Sometimes the finals are a bit of a letdown, but these were 5 fast, action-packed games. And I know sometimes people like kind of the long, drawn-out games, which, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's nice to get 5 straight games that are fast, but still close. I mean, there were chances in all these games, but UCA, the winner. No wonder in the finals. Yep. Or a Titan either. Yeah. Never quite got there. We did have a Titan gate being built. But yeah, I guess to go over, the game, right, Fang? I mean, what's the deciding? What caused this?
What did Joe do? I guess kind of is my summary of the game. I think Joe kind of has the pocket. Loki kind of just fought into brick walls all game rather than doubling the vulnerable player and mechanics. I mean, he started off by harassing Matrius, who, if you look at Matrius's position, there isn't a lot of room to kind of harass or get by, so he kind of met a brick wall there. And then even mid-game, we saw him go right into Domantis's temple, where Domantis's main TC is, which again, there's not a lot of up even further. I think
Yeah,
that's
up
what says
here.
Joe's second push was kind of into there, which again, as you see the building placement from Damontas, he didn't even fully wall it off, looks like, but Joe went to push there, his second, like, kind of push of the game, and just kind of got met by the Hades army. And again, the weakness of this game, which we saw at one point when Damontas lost basically his entire army trying to raid and got doubled, and the slow units just got picked off, and the Hades is just slow, and yet they kind of just let the Hades sit back in his base and
Ooh,
kind
look
of
at
just
those
spawn
eco
into his
upgrades.
units instead of doubling mechanics. Like, I don't even recall Joe kind of going towards
Yeah, no, he
mechanics at all
never
in that
did.
game.
No, and yeah, that to me the two big things that I just didn't quite understand was that Joe coming up this way first, and then Joe trying to push here. Like, I mean, I
Yeah, that
guess, I mean,
the front
you had that
TC and
underworld.
mechanics was open all game.
Yeah,
Like that.
like
That
Joe could have, because I know his army is a little bit out of position from where the underworld was used, because Joe came up here and then you had all of this down here. Joe could have circled over here, maybe killed this, or maybe come back and defended. I mean, it
I
was a
do think
tough
the underworld
choice.
timing was kind of rough.
It
The
was,
underworld timing
yeah,
did hit at a critical time, which worked in UCA's favor.
yeah. And as Warlords pointed out in the chat, is like each game, the controlling team kept that pressure and then got a win, which in high level team games, just being able to be on the aggression does make a huge difference. In kind of your mid-level team games, generally it's all about booming because nobody's really organized enough to put the aggression on that you need. So like generally your standard team games see just booming, 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 and it's not super exciting. But here, yeah, all the aggression, that these players are just so good that they can keep it up.
So I think the hard pressure on mechanics, especially trying to hit his second gold, because he kind of just had that one back gold. Like, if you keep pressuring him, don't let him get his forward TC, and then
Yeah,
double low-key pressure on his second gold. I think mechanics runs into trouble because, again, Damontas is just so far away. He's the Hades who's got the slowest units in the game by far, that I think if you force Damontas to chase and try to help his teammate far away from his base with his slow units, you're kind of putting him at a disadvantage. But instead, they kind of just didn't pressure the Loki and force Damontas to use the slow
yeah.
units at all,
Yeah,
which
because
allowed him to just free boom into that underworld.
again, a little bit unlucky to get a Oasis here as DoD. But I mean, to me, that tells me, or would tell me, like if I'm on DoD, is like we need to make as much damage as we can early because late game is going to be rough. And I think the easiest way to make a lot of damage early is to double the Loki. So it
Even
seemed
if you
like,
don't get eco damage, just like we said, the fights of units kind of snowball, and if you lose the fight, you got to go back and heal, and then you can't put pressure. Just having the double Loki to kind of fight the Hearsters in the middle of the map, even if he kind of turtles into his base and is on goats, and you can't do eco damage, at least you can shut down like his map pressure and not let him snowball against Shelty, which he kind of did thanks to the resto and being
yeah,
1 versus 1 with the resto.
yeah, that resto was really big too. But let's see. So you can
Mechanics is
see,
also a hell of a Loki player, so again, leaving
yeah,
him alone in a 1 versus 1 is kind of not advisable.
yeah, like you can see. I mean, DoD has military advantage as far as numbers, but we're just defensive. And like I think, yeah, the big thing, just some of Joe's army was just not where it needed to be at certain times. Kill death ratio 78 to 113.
It also,
Got it
because the
behind
map
as
spawn
well.
was rough for the Aranos obviously with the quick units and the early pressure, it can do a lot of damage, but when it was facing a walled-in opponent, there kind of was no places for the
Right.
Aranos to pick at. We saw Scatty actually kind of harassed mechanics
Yeah,
more
he
than
came
Joe
over
did.
here more than Joe. Yeah. But anyway, what a fun series. And UCA are the champions. So hope you guys enjoyed, those of you watching. And we bring back to our Little overlay here back into my office. I put on my best flannel for the matchup, and it was worth it. So, in the end, UCA wins season number 32. Well played by them. And I know, again, for DoD gets mad because we were criticizing them. You'll note that the old boys weren't anywhere in the playoffs, so we know we suck. We don't even have to say that. And yeah, it's so much easier to be able to say or see what should or shouldn't be done when you're sitting here on your
strategic
chair.
thinking when you're not doing like 100+ APM is a lot easier.
Yeah, you're just sitting here sipping some water in a nice comfy chair, some nice LED lights overhead. Easy. Hey, I'm not an old man. How many on the old boy roster? Well, kind of 4-ish main, and then a couple assistants who may or may not show up when needed. But anyway, that's the end of the season 32, the RTS League. So there will be some sort of break between season 32 and season 33. How long the break will be, I don't know. But I'm glad though. This was a great finals. It was a fun set of games, and that was good to see. Overall, it was some nice series, but leading into this, they're kind of one-sided all the way through. But this was a fun series. So, yeah. Any last comments from you, Fang?
Still a little surprised that most of the games I think were kind of strategically decided rather than skill. I think I guess that's kind of just the way this game is. It's not necessarily a purely skill-based RTS. It kind of comes down to strategy in terms of the god
Well,
choices and matchups and how you play things out.
I mean, I think a lot of the skill in organized team games, though, is teamwork and unit plate and like army placement. Like, I feel like as an RTS as a whole, Age of Mythology kind of minimizes micro and mechanical skill anyway. I think team games further remove that to some extent, to where a lot of the games I think are just kind of decided by general game plan and then general unit positioning or unit, like just tactics. I think there's a lot of tactics come into Age of Mythology, but it's still fun. I enjoy it. Here I am casting games in 2021. And yes, no Mediterranean. You're right. That's the best part of this series. No Medit. Hallelujah. But here I am, season 32. And you and I played together in season number 1 way back in 2003. So
You know what our record was in that season?
I don't, but I know we lost 2 games in our last week against Port to miss the playoffs. We only needed to win 1 game, and they weren't even a playoff team.
Ouch.
Oh,
I think we were a little better after that, at least.
Yes, season 2 we were 17-1. It was a ridiculously long season. There were like 10
I think
group
one
stage.
season we were like 18-2. Maybe that was another
That was
one.
that one.
Yeah, we had some crazy kind of.
Season
I don't know how we were that good
Cubs.
back then.
But anyway, a whole bunch of old men are reminiscing on the days of old, which I have a lot of those old recorded games actually. But yeah, Old Boys is the main team is me, Fang, Boyd, Wiz, and then we've got Hagrit and Quinta as like kind of guest if we need fill-ins. Which, but anyway, this was a fun season overall. We had fun playing. We as an OB didn't have Old Boys didn't have do quite as well as we would have liked, but that's okay. It's almost easier more fun just to not have to worry about playing and be able to sit here and watch other people play and then criticize how they play. But all right, well, I'm going to call it a night. Thanks, Fang, for joining me. I appreciate it. Thank you all for watching. And that is going to be the end of season number 32. So no more RTS League cast for a bit, but we'll find some other fun stuff to keep us and you entertained on the stream. So that's it for tonight. Hope you guys all enjoyed. Fun series. Cam for season 38. He's ahead of schedule. 34. He'll be playing. But thanks for watching, everybody. I'm going to catch you all another time. Have a great day, great week, and be safe and healthy. That is all.